Hello, and welcome to Big Conversations with T. Adeyemo. Tonight we have Alberta's number one grandma, Mrs. Moji Taiwo. She's an author, a creator, and host, a wife, mother, grandmother, and an avid community organizer in Calgary. She's a retired civil servant, community leader, and an advocate for family, women, and children. A successful businesswoman, she's also a speaker, a coach, and a life skills facilitator who has received many professional and community awards. Mrs. Moji Taiwo, welcome to Big Conversations tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you, T, for having me. It's always
Yes,
a pleasure.
yes, ma. It's so nice having you. So we're here to talk about your newest book, Grandma and Munchkins. And that name Munchkins reminds me of so many things. Why another book for children?
Well, I figured that I've always enjoyed being around kids, whether little kids or pre-teenagers or teenagers. And my 30-year career was actually working with teenagers. So after leaving that, and I wrote my memoir, that went on the wayside, and I started the Immigrant Experience show. But while I was doing all of that, I was spending time with my grandchildren. And I'm finding that I was posting my activities with the grandkids. I was posting it on my social media platform, and it was getting lots of responses and things like that. And somebody said, since you're posting all this, maybe you should document it somewhere. And I thought, oh, document it. Why don't I create a book series out of this? Because not only will it benefit our children, brown-skinned children, to see themselves in a storyline or in a book that has to do with everyday activities, everyday adventure. I thought, why not? So I will create that, not only for my grandkids to be able to identify with, but all brown kids out there and non-brown kids who has never had opportunity to actually see a grandmother and grandchildren, a Black grandmother and grandchildren doing everyday things that they do. So
Sorry,
that's one of the reasons. And the other reason is it also provides opportunity to young parents and new grandmothers what they can do with their grandkids. We have lots of new mothers that they probably don't have an idea of what to do and have fun with their children. We have lots of grandparents that are visiting from other countries, helping their children to raise grandchildren here. This provides them opportunity as to what to do with those grandkids when they're home alone with them.
So what do you do with your grandchildren when you're home alone with them, when you're babysitting?
Well, actually, I just finished a grandmotherly duty before I joined you on the radio.
Were you cooking?
I picked my grandson from school, took him to piano and guitar lesson.
Oh, wow.
Came back home, cook while he was outside playing with the dog. When he finished playing with the dog, he came home, he had a bath, came down, eat, and relaxed for the evening. Waited for his mom to pick him up.
Are your children paying you for this service? Because this is, this is so convenient. I run up and down for my sister does the volleyball, the football. We don't want the grandmothers to help us now.
So those are the things that I do. And, we go to the park. This book one is us walking to the park. And just the process of walking to the park and what we see along the way, what we
All right.
did there, how to make friends, how to talk to people, sort of promoting healthy living,
All right.
being environmentally conscious, and being inclusive in making friends.
Okay. So your book is in series. And the question you start to allude to it. Tell us about the series first. What can
Okay,
we hope to find in each of the series? How many series are there?
there are five in a series so far, but
Okay.
I envision that it will grow beyond that.
Amen.
So the first book in the five series, it's Grandma and Her Munchkins at the Playground
Is
and
that
Park.
green? Is that green? Because your books are color coded. This is the green one, the
This
first
is the
one.
green one.
Okay.
The next one will be the yellow. There will be
Okay.
the orange.
Right.
There will be the blue,
Oh,
and
I
there will be
love the
purple.
colors.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So what
So
age group are in this are featured here?
age 4 to 9.
All right.
Age 4 to 9. But somebody already picked up a copy and sent me a picture of a toddler
Ooh.
really enamored with the picture in the book. I
Can,
think
can we see a sneak preview? Just show me the page you showed me earlier of
okay.
the beautiful woman we saw there with a head filled with black hair.
So that's Grandma and the Munchkins. There are Senior Munchkin, Junior Munchkin, and Baby
Baby
Munchkin.
Munchkin. Giving grandma work to do. That's so beautiful.
And this is Grandma.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. And the illustrator is Calgary based.
Yeah, the illustrator is
Oh,
Calgary based.
oh, oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So what's going on in that page?
What's happening here is that they said that let me read it. Grandma said walking is a good exercise for us because it makes us strong.
Yeah.
So the boys started thinking about Grandma lifting weight.
It's like grandma. That's very descriptive.
So the book is kind of educational, but it also has a hint of humor here and there because that's what I do with my grandkids. I joke around with them, and they've kind of gotten my dry humor, although their parents didn't think I was funny when they
No, they won't.
yeah, the grandkids they understand my little humor here and there.
And what is so special, I think, about your relationship with your grandchildren and this project, these books you've written, is the intergenerational wisdom you're passing down. And I have no doubt that your grandkids will be settled, they will be calm, and they will be wise. They will
Well,
be
I
wise.
hope so. I hope so. The one that I mentioned that the book is also in French, and that was
Right.
not my idea.
Mm,
It's one of the grandkids that attends bilingual school. Is the one
okay.
when he read the manuscript and the illustration, he says, "So, Grandma, is it going to be in French? Because I go to French school."
Right. Right.
And that's how we got Grandma and Her Munchkins in French.
Look at the
Version.
wisdom from the grandchild. Look at
Yes,
that. Look at
from a 7-year-old.
Oh wow. Wow.
Uh,
When we were growing up, we had somewhat limited interaction with our grandparents because they lived in the village and we lived in the city. This was in Nigeria.
yeah,
And each time they came around, they were very preoccupied with doing other
okay.
things, like talking to the adults and playing around with the kids. Talk to me about this Canadian grammar idea where you're demystifying the traditional grammar outlook.
Well, I think I am creating what I long for or what I missed.
Mm, mm,
You know, for me
mm,
and most of my life, I have taken the moments that are valuable and meaningful to me as I was growing up, and then merge it with things that I was missing. So I create those
mm,
and just merge both of them together.
mm. What would you say to people who are envying your grandchildren right now?
I would say don't sit around and be envious. What you do is you tell mommy and daddy, and if grandma is in the house, you show grandma the book.
Buy the book.
Buy the
That's
book
the
and
buy the
learn
book.
from this grandma.
By the way, so at the start of this, you said brown kids, it's important for brown children to see ourselves, to see themselves in a book. I want you to lay another layer on that for us. You've been around for a pretty long time, since the 60s. What are you seeing? What happened then compared to what's happening now?
That's such a wonderful question. See, my children were born here, and they're in their late 30s, early 40s now. So going to school here, not only were they usually the only Black kid in a grade level or the only Black kid in their classroom, everything about that surrounded them, they couldn't relate to. Nothing looks like them. Nobody looks like them. Nobody had the
Mm,
same kind of names they had, and on and on and on. And I saw that void. Even now, maybe there are a few more Black, books or books written by Black people, but usually Americans.
mm, mm,
So there is
mm.
a void here. And I want to be able to, fill that void for the children, our children who are in the school system, who are going to the libraries. Even if they don't go to the libraries, at least the parents have an opportunity to purchase a book for them that not only is the name on the book different, the faces, they can relate to the faces, they can identify with the faces. And I also want to encourage those kids and the parents that, we can aspire to higher heights. We can live an everyday life, enjoy everyday activities while aspiring to higher heights.
That's true. That is true. You've said a lot there. Um, it wasn't anything your children grew up with. You're providing sort of like an experience for children coming in now.
Yes.
Um, well, what I'm thinking about Alberta generally, Alberta is a bit more diverse now than it was in the 70s or in the 80s or in the
Mhm.
90s, but
Yeah.
it's still important. And then you differentiated, you said much of the Black writing we're still seeing or writing from Black authors are people from America. So
Mhm.
I want you to say how different Grammar and Munchkins will be for children from Africa, African descent. Because I know we have a culture of respect. We have a culture of being polite. We have a culture of appreciation and gratitude. We have a culture of listening to our elder ones. I want you to speak because this is what differentiates us. Because our culture is a kind one, is one that's always been.
Mhm.
So I want you to speak to that, please.
Well, and that's, that kindness sometimes in our culture, because of the respect aspect, um, we kids, we don't allow, or we have not done a good job explaining to the kids that you can still respect me as an elder, but you can access me, you can come closer.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
being respectful Me getting down on the floor and playing with my grandkids does not take away from that respect.
That's true.
It's teaching the kids that, yes, I am human. I'm not only, your grandma so that I can boss you around only. I'm also your grandma so that we can have meaningful relationship and be closer and share. You can share in my wisdom and I can learn. You will not believe how much I learned from my grandkids.
Oh, wow.
Especially when it comes to technology.
Of course.
And it's because of that accessibility.
Yeah.
That's why I could learn from them.
So,
yeah. And that's why they're also free to correct me when I'm wrong.
How do they correct you? Is that true pronunciation? Grammar? No, it's not that.
No, and not that. If I say,
Okay.
if I'm pressing something on the computer, they will say, Grandma, that's not what you're supposed to press. You press escape, you press F something, F10 for this. These are 7-year-olds correcting me on how to use computer.
Oh, wow.
But I'm learning from them.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Just because we're grandma doesn't mean that we cannot learn from the kids.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the difference.
And that's a cycle of life, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the beauty of the circle of life.
Yes.
Let's just come around again. So what are you going to do to get Calgary schools, to get your books into Calgary schools? How are you networking? Because the more of our children who have access to your books, the better we are.
I have liaised with some of our teachers in schools. And they will, once I get the copies ready to give to them, they will hand it over to their principals. And some of them also, they mentioned that when they talk to their school board committees, they will introduce it at that level. And my one grandson that goes to the bilingual school, I've actually spoken to the principal who has, generously said that when you have the 2 copies, please bring it. I will look at it and hand it over to our school librarian to follow.
Oh, beautiful. That takes me to my next question. Calgary Library, they should stock your books. Are you working on that already?
I should, but because this is new, so it takes a lot of steps. But I have somebody working at the library there. That's my contact already.
Okay. Black History Month is coming. And in many of the schools that, especially the school my child goes to, there's absolutely nothing on Black history. So what I'm going to do from this, I'm going to link you up with our school, because I don't want another year to go by where there's absolutely nothing on. And I don't feel qualified to do Black history, but I think if you speak to them, show them your resources, it's just, if it's just a short talk, it will do us. So tell us where people can get this book, your books, and the timeline.
Okay. The book can be purchased through Amazon, amazon.ca, amazon.com, and it can also be purchased through Ingram Spark. And if people want to get copies in person, I will be at a location next Saturday. Well, I shouldn't say next Saturday. I should say Saturday, October 29th.
Okay.
From 1 to 3. People can come to that place to meet me in person. 2010 30th Avenue Northeast, Calgary. There will be refreshments and meet and greet and things like that.
Okay, I'll make sure that goes up on our website. And one other thing, we were talking about some of the challenges of even publishing this. What would you maybe have done better in this process? And could you just briefly talk to us about some of the challenges you encountered in bringing this beautiful creative work together?
Well, some of the challenges is from previous experiences, funding anything that's not typical, it's very hard. So this is self-funded, at least this book 1. Book 2 to 5 of the series, I have applied for some Alberta literary grants funding, and hopefully they will see the beauty in this children's picture book. The illustration, there's not too many children's book illustrator that can illustrate brown-skinned Black people. That was one of the challenges that I encountered. And I searched high and low, but I was always referred to people far away, but I wanted a local person. Because some of the places the adventure took us to were landmark places in Calgary. And I wanted that captured really well in the book. So this book 1 is a teaser. So all the iconic other places that our adventure took us to, I wanted somebody who can relate to, an illustrator who can relate to it and who can capture it.
So is your illustrator a Black woman?
A brown person.
A brown person, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But from Calgary. And it took me many, many, many months. I actually got somebody from abroad, but I didn't realize that the person was from the Ukraine.
Okay.
But when the war broke in the Ukraine, we lost contact.
Oh, okay.
So that forced me to go back to my search for my local search. And my last attempt at the local search, I found this wonderful artist. I met with her and showed her my pictures of my munchkin, of different things that we're doing. And she gave me a sketch, and that was it.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I think Alberta, you mentioned the grants, they would really like that you're employing local talent as well. That's at least, you're employing local labor. Before we let you go, I want you to reach out to the first book, Grandma Munchkin, and maybe read us a snippet. Give us something to push us to Amazon.
Yes. And before I do that, this is the French for our French audience, our French viewers.
Même et petit tout.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Looks really good.
That's the French. So I'll read something from the English here.
Just a teaser.
Yes, just a teaser.
So we don't give it all away.
No. I'll read it to where it was funny that first time.
All right then. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Grandma took us to the park. We walked with Grandma to play at the playground. Grandma said walking is a good exercise for us because it makes us strong. And there is the picture of Grandma lifting weights because the kids are thinking. We hold hands when we walk to keep us safe. So there is safety part there. We must also hold hands with Grandma to keep her from getting lost.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was beautiful. What a beautiful top up there. Mrs. Moji Taiwo, I want to say thank you so very much for your time this evening. You're Calgary-based author, and right now you're a #1 grandma.
Yes,
and those of us who have children here, we want them to reunite with their grandparents, and that's, but we thank you for, your the lively memories you're creating through the books, and I'm sure it will be a very beautiful read because it touches everyone who has children or who wants a relationship.
Grandchildren, aunties, uncles, teachers, neighbors,
Yeah, we all have
it's
that
it's a good
commonality.
Christmas gift.
Yes, we all have that commonality across us all because we all love our grandparents, especially our grandmas. So
Yes.
thank you so very much for your time, Mrs. Taiwo. I'm going to end the recording now.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Oh, you're welcome. You're
Mhm.
welcome.